Gentlefolk, welcome. Are you ready for spooky season? I am. That's why I have this lighting setup. Anyway, I'd like to share with you the comic books that I gravitate towards during the month-long pumpkin carving costume wearing holiday. Now, not all of these books are about Halloween. Some of them are just horror books that I tend to gravitate towards during the Halloween season while I stuff my face with so much candy corn that I make my dentist a very rich man. First up, Batman. Now I could fill this entire list with Batman alone, but I won't. But that is where we're going to start. Batman The Long Halloween series. This includes Batman The Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Haunted Night, and The Long Halloween Special. The two biggest ones from this list are actually the latter half. Haunted Night is a series of 3 stories that take place around Halloween in Batman's career, and The Long Halloween Special is a newer addition to the series. It's a follow-up to Dark Victory that gives the entire series a stronger resolution. To piggyback off of that, we have Batman 89. Now I do have an entire playlist dedicated to that book, so I won't say much here other than it's a sequel to Batman and Batman Returns, and the main reason why that I bring it up is because 1, it's awesome, and 2, it does start on Halloween Day, and so it kind of fits the vibe for the season. Now the next ones are a given because they were specifically designed for this time of year, but they're worth bringing up. In October, DC Comics releases a Halloween special that tells a handful of different stories about characters during the Halloween season. This year's special is called Ghouls, Just Want to Have Fun. It features stories from Superman, Man-Bat, The Question, Nightwing, and more. Last year's special was called Are You Afraid of Darkseid? They're just fun little one-shots that make the season complete. We're gonna do a hard turn and do books that are definitely not kid-friendly, and especially not as kid-friendly as the books earlier mentioned in this video. First up is The Me You Love in the Dark. A painter moves out to the country in an old house to find her creative voice. You know, typical artist stuff. However, the house is haunted, and instead of moving away, she decides to stay and fall in love with the evil demonic ghost. You know, typical artist stuff. This one is actually the first book I read that defines the phrase skin crawling. Next up is your elementary school's favorite costume choice, Batman. This time, Batman Vampire. In an alternate reality, Batman takes on Dracula, but in order for him to defeat him, he becomes a creature of the night. That's right, a vampire.
This is the skin of a killer, Bill.
But as he becomes an uncontrollable monster, he starts killing more and more. And it's up to Alfred and Commissioner Gordon to save Gotham. They team up with Two-Face and Killer Croc to take on the Bat. This book starts pretty weird, but by the end, it is full-on outrageousness. Continuing our not-so-kid-friendly section is EC Comics. Like, the entire company. Particularly, I'm going to be talking about the Vault of Horror and Tales from the Crypt. These have everything you love. Murder, werewolves, voodoo, ghosts.
All that horror crap, things coming out of crates and eating people, dead people coming back to life, people turning into weeds for Christ's sake.
Some of the reprints of this book are recolored and different from how they were originally published, and that gives me a chemical imbalance in my brain, like it's just wrong. However, later volumes do stick to the original color palette and honestly makes me think,
that's a spicy meatball!
If slasher horror movies are your jam for All Hallows Eve, then Hack Slash is going to be your peanut butter to that jam. It's a mildly campy horror book about a woman and her bestest bud traveling across the country to kill slasher serial killers. It's honestly a really fun read, and I'm actually shocked that it hasn't been turned into a movie or a TV series yet. And to finish off our section for those whose prefrontal cortex is fully developed is Junji Ito. Like, pretty much all of his works. My absolute favorite collection of short stories I've read of Junji Ito so far is Shiver. There's something about that story where the floating heads have nooses at the bottom of them that unlocked a phobia that I never knew I even had. Also, it gets bonus points for the story where an independent film crew hires a creepy fashion model who starts eating everyone. I love seeing representation for indie filmmaking. I gotta support my roots. Anyway, if you're not reading Junji Ito, you're missing out on great horror comics. I mean, just look at this.
I've been traumatized!
But that's all, folks. Those are my top picks. Comment below, let me know which comic books you like to read during the Halloween season. I would love to talk comics, and I would love to add some essentials to my list as well. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a spooky Halloween season. Gentlefolk, welcome. Are you ready for the month-long... Anyway, I'd like to share with you the comic books that I gravitate to... That first take was so good, and then I just can't do it again. But they are horror books that I tend to pick up during... Good take, okay. Dedicated to each chapter of that book on my channel if you want to go check that out. Also, I have no idea what I'm saying. How do I want to do that? First.